Hello, everyone. Good day to all of you. And this is greetings from PetroNile Academy and Scholar Gate. My name is Abdurrahman Fuad, a petroleum and natural gas engineer graduate from University of Khartoum, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. This session is going to be delivered by our experienced guest, Mr. Clement Bantar, about the introduction to QHSE in oil and gas industry. Our guest speaker has plus 10 years of experience in oil and gas industry in both onshore and offshore. He works as a QHSE trainer and consultant at Cameron Safety Services and certified in many areas regarding the safety knowledge and now Mr. Clement can start the session. The mic is all yours.
Thank you very much for this introduction. And before we start, I would like to thank the PetroNile administration for putting in place this learning platform. And I believe that we all need to be aware of what is going on around us in terms of career development, skills improvement, and many other domain of competencies that we can develop. And the oil and gas industry is a very vast domain with different expertise. So I want to thank you for that and all your partners, Scholar Gates, and all those who are involved in this project. I would like also to apologize for what happened the last session because, here in Cameroon, the government was, the company taking care of electricity was doing some maintenance in some of their equipment, transformers, and this affected the region a lot. So I had power down, and then also the internet was a little bit disturbing as well. But today, hopefully everything should be okay, that we can go to the end of this training without any intercalation, inshallah. Okay, let's just bring in these people. Okay, so today's topic will be introduction into QHSE in oil and gas industry. QHSE is quality, health, safety, and environment. I guess for those who are participating to this virtual training, you must have heard about that. And for some of the engineers as well, we know that it's a very important tool when it comes to managing risk and improving operations and production. So I will not introduce myself again because you already did the introduction. So our agenda for today, we're going to see the context of the oil and gas activities, and we will also see some of the hazards related to the industries. We will see some undesired QHSE event that occurred in the industry. This is in the form of a statistical form that the IAS, that's the IADC program for incident recording. We also see QHSE Management System and approach by the IADC. And then if possible, we will take some questions and answers. I guess this session is supposed to last for 1 hour. So hopefully we get to do all this within this time frame. So oil and gas is a global business. It's not a business that is just specific to a region, to a country, or to a specific area. Operations are going on worldwide. It's either in the drilling and production form or just in the downstream, because The oil and gas industry is subdivided into two main groups. We have the upstream, the downstream. So the upstream is deals with drilling and production, while downstream is refining, that's transforming the drill oil into the various derivatives, which is used in engines, in cars, in vehicles, in homes as cooking gas. And these are being sold either as gas, cooking gas in bottles, in petrol stations. So all this other sector is the downstream. So the business is a global one, and because of the different risks and danger for that this comes with, every country is exposed to different dangers or risks arising from oil and gas activity, be it in the upstream or in the downstream. Now, the context of the oil and gas, there has been a great evolution since the traditional drilling of oil, when there was no sophisticated tools to explore and detect oil reservoirs, then drill. Before, they will just detect a sip of dark oil on surface. Then they used traditional tools like bamboo, as what was done in China by then. And this did not have any kind of risk. So as time moved on, these resources were overexploited, and now it's becoming kind of scarce. So there has been need to develop new technology, new equipment, train new people to work in very harsh environment, in remote areas, inaccessible areas, and all these have come in with some form of risks to people, to equipment, and to the environment. Drilling and production require people, and equipment to work together to achieve the results, which is that of extracting oil from the reservoir to the different storage tanks, and then transformation into different products. So this interaction with people and equipment cause a lot of incidents, and throughout these presentations, we will see some of them and how they can act and how they can affect operations. So as just to get an overview of how the industry is evolving. So as years is going, there have been companies that are hiring new employees, and these new employees sometimes are not aware about some of the dangers, some of the risks which is involved with oil and gas activities. So they have to be trained, they have to be equipped with knowledge to be aware about some of these risks. I can remember my very first time on the rig, and it was so busy, so noisy, and a lot of lifting going on here and there. And again, this was offshore. Offshore, there's a lot of equipment more than on onshore operations. So I was a little bit too surprised how people get to work in such environment without any injury, and but I was rest assured because there is a system in place that enables people to be aware about activities going on and how people could be hurt and how they can prevent themselves from getting hurt. So this has been developed over time, and that's what has made the industry incident rate reduce a little bit. So we'll see into that. Again, also we have new technologies because we are drilling now in very complex environment. So new technologies has been developed either to accelerate drilling operations and maximize profit, reduce time. There have been a lot of development technological wise. So this technology as well, they have to interact with people, and sometimes they also come with risks which must be taken care of in order to prevent any undesired event. Also, there have been also complex environmental laws. Government of countries and international organizations, they have developed laws which oil and gas companies have to comply with in order to operate, such as waste disposals, the oil and gas activities create a lot of waste in form of gas, liquid, and many forms. So there have been environmental laws created in order for these companies to comply in order not to impact the environment by oil and gas drilling and production. New companies are being created while others are merging. Yeah, we have new companies that are entering the market, and they are entering in with new either new QHSE management systems or trying to implement new QHSE management system, and all this sometimes they can pose risks because a new company coming into business without a proper understanding of how the risk is being managed in the industry can be a danger not only to the business itself but to employees and the environment. So also companies which are merging with different QHSE management systems. Some companies are very rigorous, very strict in terms of quality health safety and environment management system. So they have to uh, sensitize the new employees who are coming together on a common objective in terms of QHSE. Also, the industry is struggling with the impact of COVID-19. We all know there are a lot of people who have been affected by this pandemic. Some have lost their job, and this situation has come in with some major risks because of the stress that people on the field are facing. You know, they are not sure if they will be retained in their job, or if after this job they are going to be laid off because the company wants to save money by cutting down staff. And this creates stress among employees and can generate further risks. We have, because the oil and gas is becoming very scarce, so companies are investing to search for oil in very remote locations. We are beginning to see operations going in Alaska. You know, the weather condition is not too good, and temperatures are very low, and equipment adapted to such environment sometimes also come with some sort of danger, which has to be considered if someone is going to work offshore. The industry is also usually faced with some sort of crisis due to the price. You know, in economy, the demand of supply and demand and supply plays a big role in the oil and gas industry. So there are periods where there is low oil prices, high prices. So during this period of low prices, companies want to reduce their headcount. So it creates some sort of pressure on employees, and they tend to lose focus on the job and can create a hazard that could be fatal to a certain extent. There are also threats of new alternative energies like the wind power, the solar energy. So these also are coming in, and so the oil and gas activity is gradually reducing. So all of these have put in place some different risks, and I believe that much has been done to make sure that all this does not impact people, the environment, and also the equipment which are invested on. Sorry. So what are the hazards which are related into the industry? So because we have very huge equipments, we have production platforms with a lot of people operating with different experience, some manipulating the equipment for their first times, or that not operations which are not common. So all these are some of the activities that occur on the rig, and simultaneously they pose risks to the employees who are working on platforms and on drilling rigs. Same thing with refineries, and so the different activities which leads to hazards and that cause a lot of injuries in the industry, we are going to see them, and then yeah, if we start from the drilling site on the upstream, so we have this image, as you can see, it's the drill for. We have drill pipes, heavyweight, and then we have the guys working on the rig floor, that's the roughneck. You see, they interact with heavy equipment. You have the tongs, and you look at where they put their hands. And because, sorry, because humans are a major factor in terms of accident causation, you see here, they are not wearing any form of hand protective. You see that they're wearing just shirts with hands exposed to the atmosphere. So oil, this is oil from the world, which is split all over. And these oil are made of chemicals which sometimes can affect the skin, create rashes, and in some cases develop into very worse cases. So working with heavy equipment poses risks. You know, you can put the fingers at the wrong side and then it pinches you. You could get yourself hit by a moving pipe if you're not careful. So these are some of the risks which people working on the rig floor are exposed. Some of us, some of the people who might be have access to the rig floor, we have like these roughnecks, we have the drillers. We also have third-party employees such as MWD crew when they are making up the BHA, they are making up tools to run down the hole. So all of them are exposed to rigs. We may also have people from town who are visiting the rig site and they want to do a tour. So there could be drop object in this area and can injure people. So we also have the fact that the drilling environment is explosive, have an explosive atmosphere because we are drilling hydrocarbon. So there is the present possibility of the presence of a flammable gas such as methane, you know, and so there is need to be precautions in terms of which equipment is used, which equipment is installed in which location, and that there are standards that are being followed when it comes to using equipment in explosive environments. So these are some of the hazards which people are exposed to, and that's why there have been a rigorous safety management system in place to prevent that the worst case scenario does not occur. We equally have hazards like falls. You know, people have to walk at height, you know, during either equipment maintenance or the guy who is working at the mast trying to connect pipes. So if he does not know how to use the PPEs that has been given to him or her, like safety harness, you know, he runs a risk of falling. And there are stairways, you know, which you have to move overhead, and there are a lot of things like maintenance on the crane. These are some of the activities that require people to walk at height, so it can lead to falls. Even in living quarters where the crew live, there are possibilities of falling down the stairs if people descend and climb stairs without proper techniques such as using handrails, so they can trip down and it could be a fall. So either on same level or at a different level below. We have also lifting operations. You know, lifting operations, they are also one of the main causes of accidents on the rig. So because during lifting, there are guidelines to be followed. You know, the guys involved in the lifting operations, they need to be aware of the different hazards because they have to move tools that has been transported from town to the rig site carefully. They need to be proper inspections, making sure that the slings that are used to lift the containers or the tools are appropriate. They have the good color coding. So all this helps to prevent incidents that can be linked to lifting operations. So supply boat comes from town with tools or food container, and these containers or tools have to be transported on the platform, and it's another operations either by crane, you know, and there could be drop objects on the containers that can drop. So all these precautions have to be taken if at all there is supposed to be lifting operations. Also, like if the areas where the lifting operations is taking place, if there's no proper barricade, if the area is not barricaded, there is a high chance that someone might get involved with in contact with a drop object. Other forms of dangerous hazards are blowout. Blowouts occur when there is the uncontrolled release of underground materials such as oil or gas. If there is a case of imbalance situation, underbalance situation in the hole, so the hydrocarbon is going to force itself to the surface, and if there is any ignition, this can lead to an explosion. So as you see from the images, some of the incidents with fire burning everywhere. So this is the uncontrolled release of hydrocarbon to the surface, coupled with the presence of heat or any ignition element, and we have this as a result. That's why during drilling there are some service companies which are specialized just to monitor downhole parameters, just to make sure that the well is being drilled considering safe conditions within the safety margins to avoid such events. We also have the fact that people have to work in confined space. Some of the confined space which we can observe on the rig, like the pits, where they mix fluid to drill the well. We have areas that are used for accessing maybe some equipment of the rig. So these are also very dangerous because sometimes there are toxic gas that settles in this area. And so accessing it can be very dangerous, as you will have to come into contact with this toxic gas. Or some activities that might require entering confined space, such as going to weather maybe a hole in the confined space, and then later on the gas from the welding accumulate, and then exposing you to oxygen deficiency, and then suffocating you. So this is also a major hazard, and there have been a lot of reported cases with this confined space, and because of that, there have been elaborated procedures that need to be followed by people who want to access or follow confined space for a job they have to do. We have also risks such as stress, stress and workload, because on the rig side, there are a lot of work that has to be done with limited time. So the people sometimes are very stressed because of the huge work that they have to do at the same time. So working under the influence of stress can also be a source of danger, because it enables the person not to be focused on the job and can do something wrong. So this is also a hazard, and I think a lot of measures has been done in order to prevent such hazard related to either stress or workload. We also have some hazard linked to transportation. Depending on whether the operations is taking place, the drilling is taking place on land or offshore, we have to transport personnel to the rig. And sometimes we have to go for land cases through jungles. And in jungles, you have wild animals, and we have unpracticable roads. The road might be slippery, and accidents. And then we have for offshore personnel, they can go either by boat or by chopper. And by chopper, there is a risk of the aircraft crashing or technical faults, due to technical fault. And there's always a risk. If you're going by boat, there is seasickness for those who are not used to, and they might it can be also a hazard, and you need to. That's why it is recommended for people to go walk and platforms offshore to, do some sort of medical fitness to be sure that the personnel going to work on the platform is physically fit and can withstand all the harsh conditions during transportation. We have the fact that the environment of work is very noisy, so people run the risk of losing their hearing capacity with time. That's why earplugs have been provided, but again, sometimes some employee, for inconvenient reasons, don't wear their earplugs even when working in very high and noisy areas. And with the long run, you grow older without you grow as you grow older, you begin to hear less, and this can impact your relationship with your wife. And if your wife is talking and you are not able to respond to he or she because you didn't hear what he or she says, this can be a problem. So there is need to protect our ears when we're working offshore or in any oil and drilling activities. Not only to the oil and gas industry, but there are also other industries that are also producing high noise, which we can also consider protecting our ears against. There is a high risk of drop objects, like I said, because of the fact that equipments are being used. Sometimes due to vibration, we can have loose knots, and this loose knot at height at a point can drop, and if it drop and gets into contact with someone, it can injure the person. So there is a high risk of drop objects as well during lifting operations, or when someone is passing under places where there is work at height going on. So this is very critical, and I think most cases of injuries also in the industry are usually from drop objects. So there are a lot of systems that has been put in place in order to avoid drop objects, such as doing hazard hunts, stopping operations and all the crew moving around to check for any potential drop object to eliminate it. We have injuries, which could be either fingers, getting your fingers trapped against a machine or something, and then cutting off your finger, or hitting your head against something. So that's why PPE is mandatory on offshore, on drilling rigs. We have pollution. The oil and gas industry produce, and in the search and production of oil, they use a lot of chemicals like the mud. So if these mods are not well controlled, they will lead to great environmental pollutions, either on the sea, on land. On sea, if there is oil spill in the sea in large quantity, it can modify the ecosystem of that environment. The fish, the plants, and all what is in the sea, they play a vital role in the food chain, and this can, in one way or the other, affect the environment, and the fact that we also do flaring of gas. So these are some of the hazards the industry is presenting to both the people, equipment, and the environment. So we also have hazards related to high pressure operations. There are some operations that requires the use of high pressure, such as during cementing jobs or during testing of blowout preventers, that's the BOP. So these are projects that require operations that require high pressure, which can sometimes be up to 15 PSI. And if equipments are not well secured, tested, they can be a loose item, and this loose item can, imagine an object that has been detached from a high pressure of up to 15 PSI hitting somebody. It's like a bullet from a gun. So it's very dangerous, and usually precautions have been taken in order to prevent people to be exposed to hazard related to high pressure. So such as maybe keeping people aware about ongoing high pressure operations, barricading the areas, and putting caution tapes, prohibiting people from picture of so how that has put in place in order for people to be to protect themselves and to be aware about the industry to continue to operate without a major incidents occurring. See, as the number of man hours increase, the number of recordable incidents have decreased significantly. So we can see this is thanks to the participation of volunteer contractors to the ISP program. Now, statistical wise, in terms of this statistics is those from 2018, published by the IADC through the ISP program. If you can see here, the total number of working hours for land operation has been 225,436,617 man hours, total man hours. Okay. For water is 159,508,289, giving a total of 284,944,906. So out of these man hours in total, we see that the total number of incidents that have required medical treatment, we have 370 cases out of this total number of 384,944,906. 370 cases of medically treated incidents had occurred, of which 96 were on offshore operations and 274 in land operations. No? So we are seeing that basically from these statistics, most of the incidents occurred on land. Okay. So we have many other cases. As if we look at the fatalities, we have had 13 cases of fatalities. 12 have occurred on land and 1 offshore. So this can greatly show where there is need for more focus. We can see that on land there is little done or little implementation of QHSE programs. Okay, because mostly on land people sometimes are not too careful because either because they feel they are on land, but also the QHSE management system is not too strict and not too rigorous for the land operations. Maybe that's also why we have this major incident occurring mostly on land. If we go for the cases of the LTIs, a man hour in Africa, still this is statistics for 2018. You see that total medical treatment incidents, okay, we had 26 on land, 7 offshore. Again, it still indicates that the number of incidents occurring is high in land than in offshore. We have fatalities, 3, okay, but offshore, 0. Still, because there is little that is being done for QHSE on land operations. I think this is also where we have to put much of our focus. I have happened to work in some land operations in Chad, in Gabon, and also this sometimes depends on the client. There are some clients which are very rigorous in terms of QHSE, be it on land or offshore. But if you look, operations in land in land are mostly done by not mostly, but in some areas they are operators that are just new in the business, so they still do not have a good and rigorous safety management system, and this is accounting for what we are seeing here. Offshore have very strong regulations in terms of safety. Now, from the chart, the statistics coming from the 2018 report, we have a comparison chart here below. Okay, this year we have the land operations, and here we have offshore. So if we look at the loss, the LTI by body part, which part of the body was most affected, you will see that
32 or almost 33% of the incident to body parts are linked to the fingers, both offshore and onshore. This is because we use hands for most of our operations, either for programming tools, either for trying to screw or for manipulating chemicals. Hands are very critical and need much more focus. So any safety procedures requesting hands need to be respected if you are working in the industry. You could place your hands in the wrong place and then get it pinched by a tool. So if you look also the feet and the ankles, you see that they also account for a good number of body parts that are exposed to accidents. We have like the eyes. Eyes is a little bit small because there's constant wear of safety glass. We also have the back, okay, the back which is linked because of we have to sometimes bend. We are not using the proper lifting position, and we have to distort our spinal cord to lift heavy load. We don't follow the proper lifting procedures, and this accounts for it. We have also arms, shoulders, knees. So these are some of the body parts that are highly concerned by incidents, but mostly fingers. If we take a comparison chart also on the by equipment, which equipment are mostly causing a lost time injury, we have the pipes, because pipes are for onshore pipes are mostly used during drilling. They make up part of the drilling string. So either they are being connected, how they are being disconnected, people come in contact with pipes. So the pipes are one of the major equipments that cause lost time injury. Either the pipe, there is a wrong pipe connection and that needs to be replaced. So this in terms of time can create a lost time incident. And also during the connections, because the crew has to use equipment such as the tongs, in order to break out the pipes, they can easily get injured. We have slings. These are the ropes or the cables which are used to bind tools together and then for lifting. Having hand tools. Another causes of incident that can cause injury. We have the materials such as those used in the sack room, the materials that are used for drilling, the fluids and all the like. We have well-controlled equipment, during BOP maintenance. There's also a high risk of incident because we have to nipple down, nipple up the BOP, and the hands will come in contact with hammer, spinals, and all those. So they account for a high measure incident. Now, if you look for offshore chart, you hear that crane, most of the incidents are crane activities. Why? Because offshore, there's a lot of lifting operations going on. Like I said, supplies from town have to be lifted onto the platform, and then non-usable items from the rig has to be backloaded to the supply boat. So there's a lot of lifting operations, either from the boat to the platform or from the main deck to the rig floor. So all these activities require lifting. That's why most of the incidents are linked to the crane. The crane is overworking, and sometimes they need maintenance on it, and this maintenance causes injuries in either way. Also, offshore, there is a possibility for there's also a possibility for pipe, like we see offshore. So there are also incidents related to pipe connections, and it also accounts for some of the equipment which causes lost time injury. You have the cargo boat. the rig floor winches, which the guys use to operate and lift things at the rig floor side. We have chemicals that's all the chemicals that are using the drilling fluid, the mud and everything. People come into contact with it, and they also it has that. We have welding operations, cutting, grinding equipment, and there was a case here where a welder didn't respect the procedure for hot work permit, and so he had to do a hot work without a permit in a pit room. So this led him to lose his job because he was found by another employee. And when he was asked why he was performing a hot work in a pit room without any permit to work, without any fire watch, he couldn't have something to say. And this was classified as a near miss. And it was a very critical incident because we know in the pit rooms we have chemicals, especially offshore, which some of are dangerous and even to an extent flammable. Now, by locations, we also have hazards. By locations, we see offshore for land operations, most of the major lost time injuries occur on the rig floor. Why? Because rig floor is like the center of drilling activities. Everything is taking place there. So 43% or 45%, 44% of the incidents are on the rig floor, either due to the rotary table, pipe, racking, and all the like. So we have also forklift operations, in the pit mud pump rooms. We have places like the rig decks. The rig decks, there's also a high risk there because some of the pipes are being stored on the deck, and they have to be lifted to the rig floor, and so it's a major place for incident to occur. Same thing for the offshore. If you could see that rig floor account for 19% of most incident on rigs, same as the rig deck. Okay, for the offshore, the rig deck account for most of the incident also because, like I said, there is a lot of operations. Most of the equipment that are lifted from boats, they are stored on the deck, and high risks of people getting into contact with either equipment that have been stored on the deck, and that for some reason someone find himself at the wrong place, and he gets involved with this incident. So all of these equipments like the moon pole, okay, where for drill ships and semi-submersible rigs. So you have all those things where you will have incident occurring due to either some maintenance that are sometimes going on around that areas. Also in the living quarters, though it is safe, but it is also it also have some risks because sometimes it could be false, someone climbing up or going down, or either arising coming from the mess, from the restaurant, from the galley, improper hygiene in the galley can lead to some sort of injury to personnel. If there is no proper hygiene, it can lead to food intoxication, and this is not good. By occupation, and the highest people who are exposed to lost time injury, who has injury most often. Floormen are the roughneck, those who are working directly on the rig floor, connecting pipe, disconnecting pipe, BOP maintenance. Okay, the row starboards, they are second after the floormen because the row starboard, they are also in charge of maintaining on the rig, so they get into contact with chemicals. They do sanding, they do blasting. They are involved in lifting operations. So they are one of the people that are mostly involved in injuries. You have the derrick man. The derrick man also, he works at in the pit room. So sometimes he's working, taking care of the pumps, and then at the same time ensuring that there's adequate mud for drilling and all those stuff. So this makes him much more busy. You see the driller and his assistant, they also have exposed to hazards because during drilling, the assistant driller is there during maintenance, he has to be there with the floormen to assist them. And so he too is exposed to injury, and he accounts for some of the lost time injury. We have here the tool pusher, the electrician, the mechanics, and the rig superintendent is not really involved. Often he is in his office. So once in a while, he finds himself out at the deck or the rig floor to do 1 or 2 inspections. For offshore, the roughnecks, the roster boats, they also account for, the percentage here is a little bit higher than for land because, again, there are much more lifting operations offshore. So there is a high risk for them to be exposed in the danger related to risk operations. You see here the safety is present, but on the land operations, not really, because like I said, the safety management system onshore is not too rigorous. So for offshore, it is much more rigorous. And so the safety officer has most of his time out there watching for hazards and making sure that people are not exposed to hazards. So we also have some lost time injury prevention comparison chart by time in service. So depending on the experience, the seniority of the crew. For land, there's a high risk of accident for employees who are greater than 1 year and less than 5 year experience. They have a higher chances of getting injuries than people who are 3 months to 6 months 6 months into the business. We also have people between 5 to 10 years with at least 26% of risk exposure to incident injuries. And then the least years people within 3 to 6 months. That's for land. And then offshore, it's a similar scenario where people between greater than 1 and less than 5 years are much more exposed to hazards than people who are 3 months and 6 months of years of seniority. However, I don't know if it's someone can account for this, but because of timing, maybe you can comment on this later on. So there is also a classification based on the time of the day. There are certain periods of the day when there is a high chance of injuries. The rig is a cycle, and some countries, they run 12 hours of work a day, but whatever the case, the rig has to be operating 24 hours. So most time for land operation where accident occur most, you see between around 10 a.m. Sometimes for people who are working a night shift, working from midnight to midday, sometimes by this time they are a little bit exhausted, they are tired, they are no more focused on the job, and they easily get exposed to some accidents. So also we have here 11, which is still the same time. They are a little bit tired and they are a little bit less focused on the operations. Again, you see this time here, 17 o'clock. It also accounts for it's a time at which events, undesired events occur. Why? Simply because sometimes at this time people want to either go for lunch, and the job they have at hand, they care a little bit concentration because they are focused on going for lunch or for dinner, and this can create accident. Same thing for offshore, where you have by 2 p.m. By 2 p.m. There is a high risk of incident, and then most of the incident occurred between 2 p.m. Okay, here you have 10 a.m. as well. 11 a.m. Those are the time at which people are getting ready to go for crew change or either going for lunch, depending on who is which job you are doing. If you are a third party, by this time of the day, it's time for lunch. And for the rig crew, it's time for crew change. And those who are on duty are a little bit tired, exhausted. And yeah, also this time is also time for coffee, preparing towards taking a coffee break. And sometimes people can lose some chances of getting focused to the job they have at hand. So we also have incident lost time injury due to by operations. Material handling account for 11% of the incidents. Rigging up and rigging down. Rigging up and rigging down should be one of the major incident cause of incident wide, simply because during rigging up or rigging down, there are a lot of activities going on simultaneously. We have third parties either rigging down their equipment or rigging up their equipment. And at the same time, the rig also is doing some sort of operations. So this can create a lot of incidents. Same thing for the offshore. Okay. Routine drilling operations have a great deal in accident, cause of accident. So these are because sometimes the crew they think that okay, this is a routine operations we are used to it, and then they lose concentration, and then bam, something wrong happens. Tripping in hole, tripping in hole requires the guys to be present to connect pipe, disconnect pipe, and there is also the fact that they have to sometimes the driller is a little bit in a hurry and it's going much more faster than planned. So this can contribute to most of the incidents in this area. So equipment maintenance and repair, they also cause accident. Cementing, okay. Cementing could be lost time injury, could be sometimes either in a poor cement operations or a leakage in the lines during the cement job. And walking, there's a lot of walking on platforms, people walking from one point to another, and it also account for a great operations. So however, I will this I will share the presentations with the PetroNile academic management, and then for those who have given their emails, they can get it and they will get more details in where accidents occur. So we have this comparison chart also with age. The high incident of occur between 26 and 35. Okay, this age range where high accident occur for the onshore, while those between 18 and 25, there's less chances of injury. While on the offshore, there's a high percentage of accident with people age 36 to 45. Okay, this could be because the offshore operation requires a lot of experienced workforce. So people with experience are most likely to be working offshore because experience is required. Now by type, so we have this lost time injury by type. We have a type where people struck by, if the lifting of a tool or a basket and it swings, it can easily stroke someone standing by. People walking on the rig floor during trip out, the pipe can swing and then stroke someone standing by. So we also have caught in between, that's especially on the main deck when the guys are walking. And during lifting, if you stand in between a container which is standing, and there is lifting operations and the basket that is being lifted, there's a high possibility that you get trapped in between, caught in between the station container and the lifting one. So all these are some of the type of incidents that occur. We have like back sprain, contact with chemical fluid, especially with those working at the shaker areas responsible for taking measurements of the mud weight, the drilling fluid parameters, changing screens of the shakers, preparing chemicals for and then We have slip and fall, yeah, especially for the rig floor, it's very slippery. So sometimes someone can easily slip over and fall. Same thing with offshore. Most of the incidents type are by cut between, like again, because of the frequent lifting operations that occur. And for slippery, it's a little bit higher in the offshore because offshore, most operations are using the oil-based mud, which sometimes is very slippery and can cause great incident to the people. So we will just quickly look at the QHSE management system. As the IADC has worked a lot, as we could see from the statistics, that they have been able to create a guideline, a HSE case guideline that enable contractors worldwide to have a common approach to managing quality, health, safety, and environment at their various workplaces. And this was done because many companies, many countries have different policies regarding quality, health, safety, and environment. So the IADC developing this in a sort of way harmonizes this. So it makes it a little bit much more easier for companies to incorporate their management system to suit national and international regulations. Actually, quality management system is a management system which enables an organization to identify the risks to which it is exposed, then put in place measures to control it, and then reassures that it is being implemented and that it is monitored for improvement should in case be. So this could be either policies, guidelines, permit to work, all this with goal to prevent accidents or incidents from occurring. So IADC, like I said, if you go to the website, you have a lot of information for those who want to start a career as QHSE in oil and gas companies. You could get more information on that. And they have been promoting safety in the drilling industries for quite a long time now, almost 60 years today. So what has been done to reduce some of the hazards we have seen? The industry has said many industry have policies which they are implementing, and this has contributed a lot. These are sometimes like natural incidents. Some are man-made. So, but policies have been developed, like those put in place by the IADC, which every oil and gas companies draft their quality management system based on the risks, based on their management strategy, with goal to reduce or prevent any undesirable events. I take, for example, like for the offshore operations, there are recommendations for every individual going offshore. There are certifications. There are some hazard trainings which every individual has to take. There are drills. There are exercises that are being done to keep people aware of any potential incident. And this has greatly contributed to the reduction of accidents. Organizations have also been structured in such a way that there are responsibilities and also have allocated resources for the prevention of hazards. Okay, so in some companies they have several QHSE playing the role that are making sure that the guidelines, the procedures, the standard work instructions are being implemented by the workforce. And then there are also responsibilities. And the companies are also putting in place resources, purchasing the adequate PPE of standard, training of personnel, making sure that there are available tools so that employee could use the right tool for the right job. And then there have also been the development of international standards have also helped to reduce the hazards. We have like the ISO 9001, which is for quality management. So every company that is ISO 9001 or that operates in compliance with ISO 9001 recommendations stands a high chance, to provide not only quality services but also to make important profit, because there is little or no equipment damage due to the implement. We have ISO 9001, which is the Occupational Health and Safety Management System. It has also played a role to prevent and to train people on how to identify and eliminate the hazard to which they are exposed. We have the ISO 14001, which is there to cater for environmental aspect, because there is a high concern about the impact of oil and gas operations to the environment. So this management system enables companies to operate according to international standards while considering principles. We have the ISO 29001. That's one of the latest version, 2020. This is the quality management system in the oil and gas industry. Here, we encourage a lot of professionals in the domain to get this certification, because with this you can be able to assist an organization operating in the oil and gas industry, be it a contractor, a service company, or an operator, to provide product and services of quality. There have been a program of competency development. I've talked about that. So training people. So before there were people will just like the drillers, they will learn how to operate the doghouse live. But now they have developed simulators where assistant drillers or anybody who wants to become a driller can actually train in a virtual manner and be competent and develop competency enough to be able to drill in safely, well, in real case situations. So training a big achievement, and that has been put in place, that is reducing the rate of incidents. We have performance monitoring management and review, because with the statistics that the ISP has been able to gather, this has enabled companies to monitor where there is high incident and also to manage them. They have reviewed when there is a case, and this case is being reported and recorded. It gives the management the opportunity to review where they can focus most and where they can allocate most resources. And this can only be done if there is good monitoring. There are dashboards on which this can be clearly indicated. Then there have been a continuous improvement. The industry has stayed alert, especially with the COVID. Because of the COVID, now companies have improved the way rotations are being done. Now some companies, they have to quarantine workers for 2 weeks before they can go offshore or before they can go to operations. So all these things have contributed greatly to the reduction of incidents in the oil and gas industry, plus the national regulations by different countries, plus the industrial regulations, such as those put in place by the IADC. Operators as well, they have their QHSE Management System, service companies. So these are some of the things that have been done collectively to reduce hazards in the industry. So like we say, safety starts by you being aware. So you have to be aware about some of the dangers you will be exposed to, or that you can be exposed to, so that you can be able to know how you can prevent them. And this starts by you being aware, and by being aware is by learning. And I think through this platform that PetroNile has put in place, it's an opportunity for us to learn and also to implement. So Like I was introduced, we provide a series of training and all in order to help people to raise awareness in the domain of QHSE. So we are going to end here with this presentation. It's a very vast domain, and that can be taken topic by topic specifically, but this was just an introduction to give a general overview of some of the hazards to which you can expect if you were to work in the oil and gas industry. So I will just check if there have been some questions, and if maybe somebody in the somebody wants to contribute or say something, you can just lift your hand and then you see what you want to say. Okay. I have Rahat who has raised a hand. Let me see if I can to Rahat. Okay. Someone was raising hand. Okay. Let me see some of the questions that has been asked in the message box. Okay. Okay, I have a question like, what was the main reason for Deepwater Horizon disaster in the Gulf of Mexico? Yeah, actually, I haven't have access to the official report, but from documentations, it was during drilling there was a blowout, if I'm not mistaken, and there was a cement job which was done in order to isolate this undesirable event, but the cement job was not properly done, and then we got what we got, and they had to do some relief wells in order to remedy the situation. But this created a very great impact to the to BP because of the pollution that they created, and yeah, so it was due to a job done not well done, cement job not well done, and then the integrity of the cement was not tested, and you know that happened. Okay, Mr. Pramat, if we are on an offshore platform and the platform gets fire due to blowout and the oil has spilled around the rig, at the condition, can we save us? Okay. Actually, the purpose of the QHSE Quality Health Safety and Management System is to avoid such incident from occurring. However, should it occur, most often there are exercises that have been put in place for each scenario. Like for fire, if there is fire, people should be able to evacuate. People should be able to evacuate, and then people should be able to evacuate the building. So frequently there are exercises that will enable people to be aware of what to do whenever there is either a blowout or there is a fire. So people move to the muster point. In this case, the only thing you have to do is to follow the emergency procedure that are in place. Usually on oil and gas platform offshore, there are people who are responsible for each activities. Either they are responsible for spill intervention. When there is spill, they should be able to, they have been provided with the resources in terms of spill recovery kit, and they have also been trained on how to recover the spill. There are also those who have been trained to handle emergency situation, which is linked to fire, for example, which is linked to fire. So those people will be responsible to take care of the flyer during blowout, while those who have nothing to do with the situation will move to the muster station, to their muster station respectively. So this is what you have to do. At this condition, you are not that safe, but you just have to follow the safety protocol. If you have nothing to do either as to recover the spill or to try to quench the fire, all you need to do is to move to the muster station and wait for instruction from the safety officer or the drilling manager. Well, this is for Mr. Really Gatla, Sandeep. Sorry, actually, it's sulfide. We are all aware about how lethal the nature of this gas could be. So what is being done is, first thing, there is a training that is given to is delivered to personnel. Okay, the trainings are being delivered to personnel. Also, there are gas respiratory installation on the rig all over, and people are trained on what to do should, in case there is the presence of gas. There are hydrogen sulfide detectors placed everywhere that can signal, that can be triggered if there is a gas, a sulfide that has been detected, and people will have to take appropriate measures. You know, this the hydrogen sulfide is heavier, denser, so it's mostly in lower, it settles in lower places. So what will be done is to put people at the uppermost part of the rig, usually at the heli deck for offshore. Okay, people will move at the heli deck, and then they will also advise people not to follow the direction of the wind. You know, you need to move opposite the direction of the wind. So these are some of the things that are being done, you know, to actually reduce people from being exposed to the risks that can be that can occur as a result of exposure to hydrogen sulfide. If we can have a nice seminar like this next time about the safety operation of infrastructure. Okay, this is okay. Let me see. There's no more question. Okay. Okay. For labor people, those don't have any idea for safety, in order to train them, is there any short course which is appropriate for them? Okay. Abdi Salam. Yeah, there are short safety training which we have put in place for training, and our purpose is also to raise a public awareness about safety, because a lot of people are involved in activities that expose them to risks, but they themselves are not aware about the risks. And as per the International Labour Organization, it is mandatory for the company or for the operator to educate the employee on the different risks or hazards to which they are exposed. But sometimes some employers hide this from employees. So employees operate in a risky environment and they are not aware, they don't know the danger of it. So, however, we do deliver trainings which are specific, either for those who are already professionals and want to acquire specific certification in the domain, such as having a foundation certification in oil and gas operations. That's the ISO 29001. We also developed that training with our partner PECB, that's the Professional Evaluation and Certification Board. So I think that is it.